Come out here and what you guys just think for the next hour. Just get PowerPoint, right? That's the existence of us. That's the only way to get started for cheap is to have PowerPoint. There's three things that you got to do. So I'm giving you guys notes on how to make E9. Here it is. You got to have a PowerPoint. Okay. You got to have a pyramid. If you don't have a pyramid in your PowerPoint, it's not a very good PowerPoint, right? And the pyramid doesn't really need to mean anything. It's just got to be a pyramid. And then the last thing, you got to talk about three things. So I got all three checked out. All right. Hey, this is a great opportunity for me to come out and spend some time in Hawaii. I'd say this is the third time I was invited by support to come out and spend some time. We were here just about 6 months ago. General Grass and I were coming through from Guam. We spent about 22 hours going around, and I didn't get a chance to see her spend a lot of time here. So this has been a great trip for me. I'm here from the Pentagon. You guys think I'm here to solve problems? I'm not. I'm here to create more problems for you. I'm from the government. I'm here to help, right? That's it. So it's been a great trip. The best part about working in the Pentagon is when I'm not in the Pentagon, right? When I come out here and spend this. So I'm going to run through a couple of slides. I'm going to talk about our organization. Kind of give you guys some updates. We're going to talk about some stuff that's affecting you. It's great to see that there's technicians in this room. There's a lot of concern about our technician program. And hopefully we get a chance to kind of quell some rumors, because there's a lot of rumors out there. A lot of concern about what's going to happen to me. Am I going to get converted tomorrow? Title 32, Title 5? And hopefully you guys have some discussion points and some questions for me at the end to answer that. So, without further ado, we've got to go through, we've got to talk about my boss. This is my boss. This is your Chief of the National Guard Bureau. This is General Joseph L. Lingiel. He is the 28th Chief of the National Guard Bureau. General Lingiel is a Texas Guardsman. F-16 pilots got almost 4,000 hours inside the cockpit. But that's his weekend job. His Monday through Friday job is he works for Delta. You guys know what Delta is? You guys know what Delta stands for? Don't expect luggage to arrive. That's it. That's funny. Chief Parker just said this the other day. He says, you know what? Every time I've lost luggage, I was on Delta. That's pretty true, right? This guy came out of Texas, so some great historical background in General Lingiel. His brother is an active duty 2-star in the Air Force. So, I mean, like, a lot of commitment. Can you imagine being the mom and dad of 2 sons? One's a 4-star now, one's a 2-star. Can I even imagine what Thanksgiving's like? Like, who's ordering food for gravy? You know, like, hey, give me some gravy. So, General Lingiel is a great guy. He has now stepped into this position. Their family. Talk about some sacrifices that the Lingiel family has made. Their father, Lieutenant Colonel, retired Air Force, was a Vietnam POW for 7 years. Those 2 Lingiel kids didn't think they'd ever see their father again. Dad was in a POW camp for 7. Can you imagine that? Came out, lost like 90 pounds. Unbelievable. Yeah, he was back. When General Lingiel got promoted to 4-star, and then he took over as the Chief of the National Guard Bureau, his father was there. And so was his brother. So we also talk about some of the sacrifices our Guard makes. General Lingiel's son is an active duty captain, F-16 pilot, just like his dad. And he's stationed Vermont Air National Guard Base. So part of that association, we'll talk about this in the National Commission on Police the Army, about where we're going as a Guard, as a reserve, and as an active duty. We'll talk about the associate units. We've been doing this associate unit up in Burlington, Vermont for quite a while. So you got active, you got Guard, you got a couple of reservists that are all running around there. So Captain Lingiel, pilot, F-16, getting ready to transition into the brand new F-35. So this F-35 is getting ready to go to this Air National Guard base, your sister service. It's not the first Guard F-35, it's the first F-35 in the United States Air Force. And it's going to go to a small town, Vermont. Burlington International Airport. 600,000 residents in Vermont. We've got over 1,200 airmen up in Burlington. And they're going to get the first F-35. Pretty cool stuff. Okay, so why is the middle block anything? Because we ain't got one, right? I wasn't trying to stop you. We ain't got nobody sitting in that position right now. But we got a guy that's been nominated. So General Daniel Hokanson, former Adjutant General out of Oregon, currently sitting as the deputy at NORAD, has been nominated. So we got to wait for him to get confirmed for him to go into that position. He's got another great story too. Hopefully the confirmation process will happen. You'll be there in the next month or two. Things will be great. And then we'll be holding it. So General Grass just recently retired after 47 years of military service. I know. How many people are under the age of 47? Well, that's at least. Can't start raising back at all. 47 years of military service. So you talked about his history. You talked about his contributions to our military. The best part about General Grass is that he started out prior enlisted. Yeah, so he enlisted in the Missouri National Guard. In fact, he was enlisted for 12 years. Couldn't make E6, so he went to OCS. So only the National Guard, only in our world can that exist. Can you imagine from E1 to O10? And not just O10, but remember the Joint Chiefs of Staff, our boss? What world we live in, huh? Little guard making a huge difference inside the Pentagon. So, General Young, he is the third four-star chief of the National Guard. Kind of important. You take a look at the Air Reserve and the Army Reserve, they only have a 3-star representing their service. Our Guard has a 4-star. Previous guy was green, this guy is blue, next person is going to be green by design. And their deputy, the vice, is going to be just the opposite. Because we are a joint force of the National Guard. It used to be when you heard the word National Guard, you automatically assumed that it was Army. It's not like that anymore, Hopefully we, as a family, are starting to educate our public on who we are as a National Guard. So we get a chance to do this. So, third 4-star chief. The first 4-star chief was General McKinley, Air Force guy, Florida Guardsman. He came into that position as a 3-star. There was a lot of pain and angst inside Washington, D.C. Why does the National Guard need a 4-star? Well, let me tell you why we need a 4-star. Because we couldn't go to meetings. Simple matters. They look at the shoulder and go, 1, 2, you can't come in, you're 3-star. Only the service senior people were allowed to go to that meeting. So there's a lot of things that were being missed, a lot of things that were being glossed over because our boss wasn't allowed in there. So Congress made it happen. Not only did they give our National Guard a 4-star, but they made them a full voting member of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Hugely important for us, let me tell you why. In the past, our 3-star chief would sit on the wall. And if there was problems affecting the Army National Guard, he would have to stand up, he would have to go over to the Chief of Staff of the Army, and he would whisper in his ear, hey, don't forget about the Guard. That applies to us differently. That rule set's not going to work. Our retirement pay and compensation is much different than our active duty brothers and sisters. You go back and sit down. And then issues affecting the Air Force or the Air National Guard, he would have to stand back up and walk over to the Chief of Staff of the Air Force and say, hey, Mr. Chief of Staff of the Air Force, that doesn't work for us in the Guards. We need you to understand we're different because you know what? We're ATRs, we're technicians, and we're MD. 3 different components within our own Guard. We need to understand. You know, in the past, the Chief of Staff of the Air Force, Chief of Staff of the Army, they would stand back and say, I got this Guard thing. I know exactly what's going on. And then I asked them, you know about Title 32? They're like, what's Title 32? Oh yeah, you know the Guard, all right? So we need to get inside that room. So when we were voted on to move up to the table with that 4-star and being a full voting member of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, there was a lot of resistance. Of the other 6 dudes sitting at the table, not one of them wanted us to be there, including the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Guard doesn't need to be here. So when General McKinley was selected as a 4-star and he moved up to the table, now you got the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff sitting at the head of the table. To his left, Chief of Staff of the Army. Next to him, the Chief of Naval Operations, the top dude for the Navy. And next to him was our boss, General McKinley. So as I talk about the mission set a little bit, it's important for you to understand why we have worked so hard to get up that table. Great story is General Grass was the second member of the Joint Chiefs of Staff as the Chief of National Guard. We're sitting at the table one day, almost 4 years ago. That little thing that happened in Boston, remember the Boston Marathon explosion that took out a bunch of people? Secretary of Defense walks in and says, hey, Frank Grass, I need to talk to you. He just stepped outside. So he stands up and walks out of the room. Why do you think the SecDef went straight to the Chief of National Guard? Say it again. We were there 2 weeks before it happened. We were there as the event happened. The first casualty was touched by a guardsman. That's why we're sitting in that room. That's why we have a 4-star. And it's important for you to understand he represents all the greatness about the Guard. None of that came by accident, so you have to know that. That all happened because of the stuff that you guys do every single day. And so, as we talk about where we're going as a Guard, we still have to be very cautious of the things that we do every single day. Because people are watching. Okay, any questions about General Engel? Great dude, right? Not only is he a great dude, but he's a good looking development too. Okay? All smiling and wicked smart for Massachusetts. And then I am your chief. I am your senior enlisted advisor. I am the 4th senior enlisted advisor to the Chief of National Guard. You guys remember who the 3rd one was? That's Chief Zielinski Hall, a Hawaii Guard, right? She's at that position. The interesting thing about Chief Zielinski Hall, though, and me, is when General Brass got brought in as a full voting Mayor of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, he took me along with him. So, as I sit behind my box inside this meeting, Chief of Staff of the Army, Sergeant Major of the Army, I'm sitting right here, Chief of Staff of the Air Force, Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force sitting right next to me. You, as enlisted personnel, have somebody that sits in that room now too. Because our boss is a full board member, I get to sit in those meetings. And I get to look at the estimate, Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force and say, hey, that doesn't work for us. That ain't right. We get arrested in this. It's awesome. So you talk about General Billing and things that he stands up for right now. 980,000 soldiers in the Army. 355,000 of them are Army Guard. We account for over 1/3 of the Army. Us, little old Guard. We should have a big voice. The best part about it is when I told you guys that the Army Reserve doesn't have a 4-star representing them, they look to us to help. Because they're unique too, right? So we get to do it. So we have to understand who we are as a company. Now I'm going to ask you guys to go out and tell something about the National Guard. All right, so as I said, this position, my background, I was a security forces guy, active duty for 6 years. Of those 6 years, I PCS 4 times. I was just tired of moving, tired of constantly being around and moving and shifting and not getting a chance to put my feet down. So I came out of active duty and went to Billings, Montana. I became a police officer in Great Falls. But you know what? I came out and I just kind of missed it. I really did. Just out of curiosity, how many prior service in here? Raise your hand. How long have you been in the Guard? 2006. 2006, so... Yeah. So that's 11.
I got out because I just to stay. I did most of that.
So that was the same reason I got out, right? So I got out, I wanted to be a civilian police officer, and that's what I did. I was fortunate enough to get hired to the Great Falls Police Department. And I know for a fact that during the interview, 300 people applied for the job, and I'm not all that big chips. I was just able to interview because I had been interviewed a bunch of different times for promotions in the military. For Airman of the Year Board. As I went in to promote for E5, I had to go in for an oral interview. And I'm not good at it, but I just had a lot of practice. And so when I walked in for my interview with the police department, I did okay because I got hired. Little did I know, as a police officer, that was going to lead me back into the Guard. So there I am. It's November. It's a Sunday morning. I'm on probation. Now, as a police officer, where's my HPD guy? What does probation mean?
I'm quite being an officer yet, but still being tested and evaluating. Hard to do it on your own.
So the department is still trying to decide whether they're going to hire you. The best way for you as a police officer to convince them to hire you is writing everybody tickets. Right? So you gotta write 100 tickets. Every single day. I was like begging for my mom to drive. I write her tickets. So there I am. 8 o'clock, and here comes my first customer of the day. Because they're customers, aren't they? This guy wants some of my time. He wants me to stop him and ask him how he's doing today. So that's what it is. So I do the traffic stop. I walk up to the guy and I said, "Sir, you know why I stopped you today?" Have you heard that before? So he sits there in his car and he turns and he looks over his left shoulder and he says to me, "Have you ever thought about a future in the Air National Guard?" Of all the dudes to stop that day, I stopped the recruiter. Wants a recruiter? Oh, there's a recruiter, right? So if it wasn't for him, maybe taking a lot of pride in his organization, believing in his organization, going out trying to find another recruit, somebody else to come into his company. If it wasn't for him asking that story, I know for a doubt that I wouldn't be standing right here. Did you give him the ticket? Statute of limitations is expired. That was the only traffic stop where I actually walked with paperwork. Yeah, so I did not. And it's interesting, too, a couple of years ago, I went back to Montana, because Montana used to be sitting in the F-15s, and we sat alert here in Hawaii for a while, if you guys knew that or not. But when our 15s went away, we transitioned to C-130s 2 years ago, went back to the ceremony, and there I am, you know, Larry Markholz, my recruiter, I'm walking up, and he's still in the guard. He's retired, but he's still in the guard. He shows up that day, and he's like, "Gosh, it's just so great to see you. How's the family doing? Everything okay? Your son. You say he's got to be about 15 right now. So you thought about a future here?" So I'm glad he said something. But that was a Sunday morning, and then the following Friday, 6 days later, I enlisted. It was great. And for me, it was awesome, man. I didn't have to go to school. I was already ambulance qualified. Still have my training records, still have my uniforms. That's the BR's guard, right? Now I'm a staff sergeant, E5, United States Air Force, Security Forces, man. I'm going to go up to this guard base, and these guys, they know nothing. Because they're lazy, they're undisciplined, they're untrained, they're uncommitted, they're one big family, and all they do is sit around and complain about active duty. That was all my preconceived ideas I had going in that way, right? I'm thinking, I'm a staff sergeant, man. I know everything. Right? All the C5 said, yeah, I'm like, I walked in there, 65 police people inside that squadron. 65 dudes. Little did I know, well over half of them were city, county, federal deputies, ICE, DEA, ATF. I had more to learn from those 65 dudes than I could have ever imagined. As a brand new police officer, I got some great lessons. Had some great supervisors, great mentors. And it was really interesting too, because this is the guard, right? As a military member, it taught me to be a better police officer, which taught me to be a better military member, which taught me to be a better citizen. You see how that happens? And so inside the Pentagon, I get a chance to talk about the stuff that's hugely important to us as an organization. You guys know what the Army Reserve motto is? Anybody? Twice the citizen? If that's the case, then we, the Guard, must be 3 times a citizen, right? One up this year. Take that, Army Reserve. Because of the 3 things that we do every single day, right? We're in the military, we're in the community, and we've got civilian jobs. And there's a lot of people inside the Pentagon that can't understand that. They don't know what we do. They don't know that our MA soldiers go through 12-day weeks every month. Not just unique to Hawaii, but our soldiers take their drill check, and what do? They buy a plane ticket so they can go to guard drill. With the hopes of getting a retirement someday when I turn 60. I'll make it that long, right? And it's interesting too, because there's a lot of resistance. Army, Air Force, local services, our sister services, they can't understand how we can be the same soldier as them on 2 days a month. They call it this 39-day fallacy. 2 days a month, 12 months in a year, 15 days of annual training sometime in there. That's that 39-day fallacy. There's no way you soldiers can be as good as me on 39 days of training. What they don't realize is, you talk to our technicians, right? I don't wear the uniform, but Monday through Friday, we do the same job as we do on the weekend. And it may not be the same FOS, it may not even be the same location, but we're still doing work time. And our police officers are doing the same thing. And our technicians, and our plumbers, and our people that work for Google, and our butchers. My first commander, I'm not kidding, he was a butcher. He used guards. You know, and so whether you're a butcher or a baker or a candlestick maker, right? That's who we are. And that's what I need to explain every single day. To tell these guys that we bring all those civilian acquired skills to our job, which makes us better in the military. And so some get it. Some dudes and dudettes the entire organization. General Grassley had an opportunity to go to Kandahar. When he came off the plane, 4th ID Command Sergeant Major was standing there. And so General Grassley was right, he does GO business, and I go to the left and I do enlisted business, and I stand up the Sergeant Major and I'm like, my cape flapping. I'm the top guard guy. I'm here to fix any of your guard needs. What's going on? What can I help you with? How many guards do you have? And the Sergeant Major says to me, he says, you know, Chief, I really don't know and I really don't care. Yeah, I didn't say who. I'm like, mother. No, I didn't say that. Traveled the whole way to see this guy, and you know, he's like, he's gonna punch me right in the eye. And I'm like, Sergeant Major, I was hoping we could be friends. I really wanted So the Sergeant Major says, wait, hold on, Chief, you understand something, right? I got 8,000 soldiers working for me, and I don't care if they're Guard Reserve or active, they don't matter to me, because they're all my soldiers. I'm going to take care of each and every one of them like they're my own. And I'm like, okay, I feel a little bit better now. I guess we can hug now, right? He says, but you know what? I can usually spot a guardsman. They just look different. And I'm like, oh boy. Is it because the sleeves are up? Not good. He says they just carry themselves differently. They're usually more mature. They're usually more articulate. They can talk the talk, and they can walk the walk. But the most amazing thing about the guard guys and gals is that they know how to take good care of each other. Not just themselves, but each other. When we deploy as a family, because that's who we are as a guard. The best part about the guard is that we're family. The worst part about the guard is that we're family. But that's what we do. And so as we were going through site visits with the Sergeant Major, it was great, you know, I always asked, whenever I found out there were guards, what do you do for a living? Hey, what do you do for a living? I'm a technician. I work with the RTI. I'm a plumber. I'm a butcher. I'm a baker. And so as I walked away from that, you know, the Sergeant Major kept asking me, he says, Chief, why do you ask what they do for a living? Because we do stuff outside the military, which makes us awesome. That's who we are as an National Guard. All right, okay, so 3 things, PowerPoint, pyramid, and 3 things, right? Okay, next slide. You don't want the next slide? Come on, Sergeant Villarreal.
The computer.
Sure, blank on the tech, right? So we talk about who we are as a National Guard. And so here's a good question. What event changed us from a strategic reserve to an operational guard? I heard 9/11. Why do you think 9/11? Because that's when we generally got asked to go. What I heard is National Guard won the first before. That's a great answer, and I do agree with you to a certain extent. But I'm here to tell you, on the 10th of September 2001, the National Guard didn't look any different than we did on the 12th of September 2001. We can't owe or tie that single day to our existence, and it's fact. We have been doing requirements all along since 1636 when we became a guard in the first place. 9/11 was just that one day, a historical day, a day that's burned in our heads forever, and our kids to include, right? But that's not the day that made us operational. We became operational when we put the uniform on and we came in the guard. That's when we became operational, because our tempo hasn't let up at all. We still count for as many deployments as we did before 9/11. When the Army runs out of Schlitz, they call us, and we come running, right? Nothing has changed. They just like to call it that we were strategic. But if you take a look at these really interesting documents, like the QDR of 2014, which outlines our budget, these are the Bibles for the Pentagon, for the Department of Defense. This is not Mitch Brush writing something. So we talk about the national security strategy, that white one. And then the United States we're the operating concept about how to win in a complex environment or complex world. That's Army documentation. And next to that is United States Air Force Strategic Master Plan. Really huge foundational documents. And inside of those documents, you're going to find this stuff right here. These are quotes right out of those documents. They aren't suggestions. They aren't ideas. These are facts. You take a look at some of the things that it says. Integral to the total force. General Milley, Chief of Staff of the Army, was in August, this last weekend. On Saturday, in Baltimore, we had our National Guard Association USA, one of our professional organizations, and he was the first speaker to come up. And the first thing out of his mouth is that I cannot do my job as the Chief of Staff of the Army without the National Guard. I need the National Guard. So we talk about who composes NAGAs. What is NAGAs? No officer. Yeah, Association of the United States. That's what NAGAs is, right? So you got all your adjutants generals sitting in that room. Your tag was there. I talked to him. General Milley, these two sergeants, says, I cannot exist without you. I need the National Guard. That's that first thing they do with total force. Right after that, Secretary of the Air Force, Deborah Lee James, she spoke. And guess what she said? I can't exist without the Guard. I need the Guard. 46% of the refueling capabilities, some of which you guys have here in mind, are Guard. They can't exist. Bangor, Maine, little air station, Bangor, Maine, 900 gallons, way up. Last year, they passed 17 million gallons of gas. It's a lot of Maine, right? 952 gas. The European Theater Center down Marathon, does not exist without the Guard. That's just one small little sliver of what we do every single day. We'll talk about more of the mission sets. We're a tremendous value for America. What does that mean? Sounds good. Why are we a tremendous value for America? Cheaper. Why are we cheaper? 39 days. 39 days! That's exactly it. I always ask that question. Who in here can remember the last time they did 39 days military in a year? Any of you guys remember? Anybody? I remember. I was a staff sergeant, brand new to squadron. I did 39 days a year. That was before 9/11. Yeah, right? Since 9/11, that's changed tremendously for us. Orbital lands on us. We always told them for years and years, we're ready to use us. 9/11 happened, all of a sudden they're like, huh, maybe we should start using the National Guard. Great idea, right? Building partnerships. We'll talk about the state partnership program here in a second, but building partnerships is what we do in our communities every single day. You know, whether we work, whether we live, whether we play, it's always in the community. The reason why we're such a tremendous value is we don't pay for dwell. Do you guys know what dwell is? Dwell is time between deployments. The federal government doesn't pay a penny for us. When we go to war, we're identical. We're interchangeable. We're the same. In fact, you guys have heard time and time again, I can't tell who's who. And that's a good thing, right? Because it wasn't always like that. Talk to these old dudes. I got to tell you, my first deployment in 2003, when I got in, I didn't know anything wrong. I really didn't. And it wasn't that I was ashamed. I didn't want them to treat me differently. My uniform says Air Force, period. Not Guard, not Montana. It says Air Force. What does your uniform say? Army. General Milley, one arm. One arm. Period. Nation's Combat Reserve. That's the reason why we look, we talk, we train, we act. We got the same haircuts, same standards, same uniforms. Because of the Combat Reserve, we'll talk about this some more. But the most important thing is that last thing that's on there. And that's in that document. The National Guard brings Main Street to the Pentagon. What is that? Where do we live? In the community. We are truly connected with our communities. Only the National Guard. You know, so I say this all the time. We in the National Guard, we're the front lines of the military in America. Because most people perceive the military most likely from a Guards person. Because we're in every single community. 3,000 communities that we live in every single day. So that's hugely important to not only share that story, but you get a chance to be smart about who we are as a National Guard. What makes you different as a Guardsman? And we'll talk about that in a second. All right, next slide. Got my favorite. All right, so we're going to test. This is going to be an awesome test. If you take it, and it's important you guys know this because you got to see how we exist inside the Pentagon. You got to know what your wiring diagram is and who the people that are supposed to be carrying the water for you look like. So we're going to go through this thing, all right? Okay, we're going to start off with something kind of easy. We're going to start off with the Army settings. Director Army National Guard, 3-star dude that represents all the Army National Guard. Former Adjutant General out of Nebraska, and his name is General who? General Cademy. Go ahead, hit that slide. Out of Nebraska. And his Command Sergeant Major, this is your CSM from the Army National Guard. Chris Kepner out of Pennsylvania. Great dude. Let me say that one more time. Great dude. He's a great guy. He represents you guys well. Okay, back up. Okay, on the Air National Guard side. You guys see how we're all tied together, right? One chief represents the entire National Guard. You need to know the blue side too. I talk about 453,000 guardsmen. That's Army and Air. We are more joint, we are more tied, CST, CERT, HERF. We go on and on about all the domestic ops that we do. We do that together as an Okay, so Director, Air National Guard. I got a coin. The first person can tell me who it is. Brian Philip Ice. Massachusetts Adjutant General, right here. Command Sergeant Major Chris Kepner's counterpart on the Air Guard side is Ron Anderson, Chief Master Sergeant Ron Anderson. That's him right there. Okay, I'm throwing the names out, putting the faces up, because guess what? Not only have they been here, but they're going to come here again. Wouldn't it be great if we were able to walk up and say, "Hey, General Rice, you're the Director of the Air National Guard. Did you go there?" What's going on here? You have a heart attack. Okay, so you guys see the Director of Air National Guard, Director of Air National Guard, 3-star dudes. They report to the Chief of the National Guard Bureau, okay? Our Chief of the National Guard Bureau, that block is purple because it's joint. Sergeant Major Wingate, high school joint, Army. You didn't do well in elementary. ARMY, that's right. Okay, so the 4-star, Chief of the National Guard Bureau. Now you see that the Director of Army National Guard coordinates to the Chief of Staff of the Army, but he works for this dude. Director Air National Guard, 3-star coordinates the Chief of Staff of the Air Force, but he works for this dude. Right, you got it? It's in our memories. We know exactly what our company looks like, right? Okay, we're going to go to Green second. Chief of Staff of the Army is? Who? No, that's the Air National Department answer. Who's Chief of Staff of the Army? General Miller. Hey, General Miller, right? You have to know this. This is your company. And when you go out to the community and you explain to people that, you know what? Chief of Staff of the Army, he's taking care of all the armies. But the Chief of the National Guard is taking care of the National Guard. And we're different. This is Eric K. Fanning right here. That's your Secretary of the Army. The best part about Secretary Fanning is that he's prior Air Force. Well, he's the Undersecretary for the Air Force, and he really truly understood what the Guard was. The Air Force was a little bit faster at picking up the National Commission on the Future of the Air Force. When that commission came out, they said, hey, you've got to use your guards smarter and better. You got to be predictive. If we're going to pull our families out of the community, you got to give them some predictability. You got to prepare them to go on deployments. So now the Army started to come on board with that. He's leading the way. Okay, put back out. Chief of Staff of the Air Force. Goldfein. Wait, it is Goldfein. It is General. Okay, so General Walsh, you guys remember General Walsh? You saw him on TV all the time, those great commercials. And here in the Air Force. This is the new Chief of Staff of the Air Force. And that's Secretary James, right there. Secretary of the Air Force. Okay, so we're going to back out. So here's kind of an interesting thing. So we got Chief of Staff of the Army, Sec Army, Chief of Staff of the Air Force, Sec Av. What are we missing? We're missing Sergeant Major, that's right. But what block is this up there? We don't have a secretary, do we? Who's our service secretary? Paul Lira. Our boss reports directly to the Secretary of Defense. We don't go through a civilian secretary like the other services do. We go straight to Sec Def. That's by design. And it's important that you guys understand that our Chief of the 4-star, full board member, Joint Chiefs of Staff, works for the Sec Def. We are not our own service. We are a National Guard. But we go straight to the Sec Def. And we coordinate every single day the Chief of the National Guard Bureau through the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff to the Sec Def. We talk to the Sec Def meetings twice a week in meetings. So, show me the picture of the Secretary of Defense. You guys know who it is? Ash Carter. Secretary Ash Carter. He is the top dog for DOD, the Secretary of the entire defense. 2.8 million people. Civilians, service, contractors, all of DOD. He's that dude. And Secretary Bob Work is the Undersecretary of Defense. And guess what? Those two dudes will show up on your front porch one of these days. Okay, back out. We see that the Chief of the National Guard goes straight and set up. Usually we coordinate every single day to the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. So, who is your Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff? The table at which we sit. Who leads all the military services? Starts with the done, ends with the fur. General Dunford, that's the guy right there. He's a Marine, and he loves his guard. I had an opportunity to go to Africa when they did the change of command. New boss was coming in. General Dunford was the guest speaker that day. And as he's going through what's going to make AFRICOM work, he kept talking about state partnership program. What does this dude know about the state partnership program? He knows a lot about the state partnership program. And after the ceremony, he came up to General Dunford and said, hey, sir, it's great to see you. We've got kind of personal history. His father's a retired police officer. That's right. We had great conversations, and he comes up and he says, hey, make sure you go take the National Guard. I said state partnership program 14 times during my speech. I'm like, yeah, I heard you, sir. Got it. His top enlisted guy is the SEAC. Senior Enlisted Advisor to the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. That title doesn't even fit on a business card. It has to go around the back side. Advanced Sergeant Major John Troxel coming out of Korea. He's been in the position about 8 months now. The SEAC loves the Guard. Kind of unique. I am very similar in the job that I have because I'm responsible for Army National Guard and Air National Guard. He's responsible for Air Force, Army, Navy, Marine Corps, and Coast Guard. So we're both sitting in joint bills. We have a lot more in common because we don't own any resources. We have to get the services to play nice with each other, including the Army Guard and Air Guard. So he's a great guy. He's a strong proponent for the National Guard. And as I sit inside the room, he doesn't differentiate between me and the SMA and the Chief Master of the Air Force, and the MIG-POD, and the MIG-POD, or the Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps. Those are my partners. That's the board of directors. So thanks for you guys supporting me. Thanks for pushing me to do that, because that's what I do every single day. Okay, so that's wire diagram. Any questions on the left-hand side? Gotta be a test later. Fill in the dot, right? So, when things are affecting us as a National Guard, we have a chief that can do that. That's on the left side. We go through a chain of command, right? On the right-hand side, we also have the luxury in the National Guard to have our Commander-in-Chief carrying the water for us. Who's our Commander-in-Chief? Governor, right? When is Barack Obama your Commander-in-Chief? When you're Title 10, that's correct. And people in our organization don't know that. We have to make sure our soldiers understand that. They got to know that. In fact, when we go to war, President Obama calls your governor and asks for permission to take the Army Guard out of Hawaii. I mean, when is our governor going to say no, right? But it's still courtesy. And that's the way the Constitution's built. Just like this. Actions General Block is purple because it's joint. Alright, so this is my first point of attack on Capitol Hill, how I change stuff like retirement. Second point of attack on Capitol Hill is your governor belongs to a thing called the Council of Governors, reports directly to the President. Okay? Third point of attack on Capitol Hill, what is it? For the low, what did you say? That's right. Our professional, I can't say no. I can say professional organizations, like names, and not, but I can't say obvious names. Our professional organizations with a low price of $36 a year. You have somebody that is a guards person that goes up on Capitol Hill. And because the Constitution prevents us, as a military, from going up to Capitol Hill in uniform, we do it as a citizen soldier. Kind of tricky, huh? And we get some change because of that. Okay, next slide. This is the best way for us to define to our community who we are, the things that we do every single day. This is our bumper sticker. This is our logo, our medallion. We're taking names on what we should start calling it. Thinking maybe like a TriStar of Death, right? The three things that we do in the National Guard. I'm in the Armed Reserve twice a citizen, went 3 times because of this right here. So, the war fighter, it exists. That's why we look identical for active duty counterparts. Because when they go to war, they run out of resources quickly, and they ask us to become running. Okay? That's the war fight piece. We train, we act, we talk. In fact, I think we're interchangeable. We're not replacements. We're not substitutes. We're not second string. We are interchangeable. Chief of Staff, the Air Force General Wallace, he gave a presentation. At the very end of it, he's got a slide. He's got 3 majors, one active, one's guard, and one's reserve. And he said, which one is which? He said, does it really matter if you drop the mic and walk off the stage? Technically not. War fight piece. And the second thing is the homeland piece that we do every single day, right? We exist in the homeland. We defend the homeland. And the third piece is the partnerships with the communities and countries. This is what we do. We, as the Guard, always leave someplace better than the way we found it. That's our motto. And it doesn't have to be a law. It doesn't have to be a building, a weapon system. More importantly, we leave great impressions on people. I can't tell you how many times I've heard this from somebody in the Army and I had no idea in the Guard. I'm like, does it really matter? It doesn't, does it? It's a soldier committed to a mission, Being a sergeant takes a lot of pride. We had an opportunity on Tuesday night to modify a new refueling mission down to KC-135. It was built back in 1958. Sir Major Wincat, beautiful aircraft. Millions of miles. But our crew chiefs, our maintainers, immaculate. I'm not kidding. You could eat right off the deck. You couldn't tell that. And that's not just the KC-135, nor is it just the Air Force. Take a look at our helicopters we flew on yesterday. Immaculate, beautiful, a lot of pride. Crew chief and professional. That's who we are. Take a lot of pride in that. And we continue to build partnerships everywhere we go. Next slide. So let's talk about it, because you can't have a slide without putting numbers up. So here's my numbers. There you go. Holy cow. So the war fight, 780,000 plus deployments since 9/11. That's just since 9/11. Because we deployed a lot before 9/11 too, didn't we? The best part about this is 780,000. But wait a minute, Chief, you said 453,000 in the Guard. How can that be? Because a bunch of us have got multiple deployments. That's why. I ran into a soldier the other day. He's got 9 deployments. What? He spent more time overseas than he has at home. It's no wonder his wife loves him so much. We're never GOCOM. We're going back on UCOM. Like you guys are engaged in every single day. AFRICOM, SOUTHCOM. So let's take a look at the second piece, the homeland piece, right? So we've got currently 10,000 people on orders right now. An additional 5,000 are preparing for deployment or they're coming off of deployment. We account for 3,600 guards and on duty within the homeland, defending the homeland. That air control alert, the F-22s that sit over the top of Hawaii, protection, air defense. You go up to Fort Ridley, Alaska, missile defense up there. Any incoming ICBMs to the country will be met by a guardsman. Most likely major commanding, and you have an E4, E5 sitting at the switch. Shoot that ICBM out of the sky. That's guard. Task Force, Empire Shield in New York City. You guys been to New York City? Since 9/11, you've had 600 guardsmen here in Army on duty at every train station, plane station, boat station, bus station, tank station. Any port of entry into that island, you will see a guardsman. Every single day. And some of those dudes have been doing it since 9/11. 15 years strong. State active duty. How many retirement points do you get for state active duty? None. But they do it because we ask them to. And there is community love. Because they're helping. Left-hand side, we'll talk about state partnerships, but take a look at some of the training that we're doing. So the Singapore Air Force, they get all their Apache training from guess what? From us. The Guard. F-16 training, C-130Js. It's all the Guard. Every single day. Okay, next slide. Okay, who's your state partner country? That's 1. That's 2. We got Guam, paired up with Hawaii, the Philippines, Indonesia. Take a look at some of the other countries. Take a look at some of these countries that are like Illinois and Poland. State partnership program since 1993. So years ago, when we talked about state partnership program inside the Pentagon, people inside the Pentagon were under the impression that we were doing SPP so we could take guns and money over to our partners. True or false? False. Who can tell me what we do with the state partnership program? Say again? Yes, that's exactly it. Some of our other sister militaries, they don't have an NCO corps. Their conscript means that they have to be in the military. If you're a guy, it's 3 years. If you're a gal, it's 2 years. Conscript, they got to be in the military. For the individuals that show potential because they decide their boots and they can shoot it right in the rifle, right? They make them an officer. And they look at us like, I don't understand how a crew chief, an E5, can be in charge of a KC-135. Our tank crew, commanded by Staff Sergeant. How can that possibly be true? How expensive is an Abrams? $2.50 went out for this a lot of money. So we get a chance to teach these guys. That's what city march we're going to know about. And so the worst part about it is that there's a lot of people that are misguided. Like, what is the National Guard get out of this? All you do is give and give and give. Do we ever get something in return? We get the experience. We get the international experience. We get to learn another culture, which makes us appreciate ours more. We get the joy of joining with another military and learning from each other. It's all about the experience. So I'm thinking about becoming a Rhode Island Guardsman. What? I gotta go to the Bahamas again? One more time this year? Come on, Chief. Okay, next slide. Wait for it. Wait for it. There you go. Okay, there's my pyramid. Pyramid! Woo! Okay, so when I first came up, this is what my pyramid looked like, right? So we start out with personal readiness, recruiting attention, resiliency family programs. That's kind of where we start because we're family, right? That's where we start. We got to take care of the family, we got to take care of the community. And then we work our way to 2017 and beyond. We talk about employment and ACRC, next active component, reserve component. What's it going to really look like in 2025? We're going to work on that stuff, And then here's that 4 for you guys. Who doesn't love SSD, right? Okay, so like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? You start at the bottom and you work every single day. And you work up this pyramid, right? And you work at personal readiness and then autonomy, personal development. And if you can just get to the top of the pyramid once in a great while, and you can become a responsible leader, or you can have ethics, or you can practice core values. Wouldn't that be great? What a good organization that would be. You just do that. You guys see something wrong with this pyramid? What's wrong with the pyramid? It what? It's upside down. What are you talking about? Exactly right. Exactly right. Next slide. Wait for it. So this is what my house looks like right here. When we have MA soldiers and drill status stars when they come to guard drill, if they come to guard drill and they leave with just one thing, this is what I want them to leave with. MOSQ, weapons qualification, all that stuff, all this stuff. I'm not really concerned about that because this is the thing that punches us in the eye every single day. This is what gets us front page newspaper every single day. And I get wore out inside the Pentagon time and time again when people say, it's you guard guys. Oh, you guard guys. Had an individual guardsman down in Florida, stole $133,000 in rifles. Why do we do that? There's 2 things that we inventory every day. Planes and guns. He didn't do it because he was expecting to get caught. He did it because he thought he was going to get away with it. And I'm here to tell you, a subordinate, a co-worker, a supervisor, somebody knew about it and failed to do anything about it. Air Force, 1H Lieutenant Colonel, arrested for sexual assault downtown Crystal City. You guys from Crystal City at? Where's Crystal City at first, right? Yeah, it's right next to the Pentagon, right? In fact, the shadow of the Pentagon hits Crystal City. Lieutenant Colonel, Air Force 1H gets arrested for sexual assault. Bam. What page of paper was that on? First page. I'm not talking bottom fold either. I'm talking top fold. How many days? 6 days. 6 days. Getting the Silver Star out of important in the Guard. And even more important in the Air Guard, so we don't do that stuff a lot of times. We had a Master Sergeant E7 that got the Silver Star for actions in theater. He works for the Department of Homeland Security as an EOD tech. He's in theater as an EOD tech. IED gets injured, goes and drags a Polish soldier to saves his life. Polish soldier's unconscious. Get the firearm, got bullet holes in his back, walked away from it. General Grass and I had an opportunity to go up there, and we awarded him his Silver Star. For me, it's a pretty cool day. For the soldier, for the airman, a really cool day. For him and his family, what day's been we've done? Day 7. Hello! This is the stuff that is crushing me right now. This is the stuff that we just can't get past. And it's as simple as you going up to your subordinate, your supervisor, your peer, your friend, a fellow soldier saying, I just don't think that's right. And it may not be illegal, but it just doesn't look right. I'm here to tell you. That Lieutenant Colonel was arrested for sexual assault. Do you think he woke up that morning thinking to himself, you know what? Today's the day I commit a felony. I'm going to do it today. The soldier stole $133,000 from. Do you think he woke up that one morning and took $133,000 from weapons? It started months, and for the lieutenant colonel, probably years ago. And somebody saw and failed to say something. And here's the worst part about it. You guys need more time to train. I'm trying to give you guys more time to train in your LOS for the very same reason that you joined the Guard in the first place. But here's the deal. If we can't police ourselves, somebody else is going to do it for us. Not here. Not anywhere. Certainly not when I'm on this. I want you to leave my organization. I want you to retire from my organization. But not even at making that if you're not responsible. Because day 2 of basic training, you are now senior to somebody. Right? You're a leader on day 2 of basic training. If somebody else is going right behind you, right? And just because you don't outrank somebody doesn't mean that you're not responsible for them. You guys know what our organization needs to look like, and you have to police yourselves. Let's talk about this next thing right here. I got to talk about it. I have to talk about suicide. Let me tell you something. The month of October last year, 24 guardsmen decided to kill themselves. The month of October last year, 24 guardsmen decided to kill themselves last year. I'd like to think that all brains and all the smarts, 4 stars and 3 stars, and PhDs and multiple master's degrees, all of those dudes and dudettes inside the Pentagon, right? When we have a problem, we take it to the Pentagon. What does the Pentagon do? They create a program. Most likely computer-based training, right? CMSGT. I'm going to drag my guardsmen all across the state of Hawaii. They're going to give me their guard check, and then I'm going to put them in front of a computer. Now I'm going to teach them signs and symptoms of suicide prevention. How's that working? Our numbers were higher this year than they were the year before that, and it's been a steady increase. I had one of my fellow guardsmen ask me the other day, he says, can you tell me if they're MA or technicians or anything else? What do you think they were? MA. Majority of them were MA. Our soldiers and airmen are scattered in 3,000 communities across the United States, making sure that they stay connected. They're on their own. They're having to balance work and life and marriage and school and coaching and being a son or a daughter, being a neighbor, being in the military, right? What kind of support do they get? I'm here to tell you, I don't know how to fix this thing. Everything we've done so far has not gained anything. And I'm not okay with decreasing the number of suicides. I'm okay with having no suicides. So I'm here to ask you, what are we doing wrong? How did we fail each other? What do we need to do to fix this? We gotta fix it. Our former director of the Air National Guard is retired. So we're at the ceremony, and there I am on my phone, which is the worst piece of equipment ever, because I get delivered horrible news every day. There I am, reading through my phone. Had another suicide that day. I walk into the ceremony, Secretary of Air Force, with lots of patients. Hey, Chief, how's things going? Whoa, what's wrong with you? Normally you're pretty chipper. I'm like, man, you just lost that. You're so serious. I don't know how to fix it. I feel like an absolute failure because we're not getting our arms around this thing, man. It's like trying to put your arm around smoke, right? There's no commonalities, there's no age, there's no race, there's no religion, there's no deployers, non-deployers. It's just occurring, and we're not fixing the problem. She says, gee, about the time the E3s, the E4s, and the E5s have had enough, and they want to fix something, that's how you get true change in your organization. So what I need you to do today is admit that we've got a problem. We have to own this problem. Because I guarantee you, somebody in our guard is thinking about killing themselves right now. I don't need a program to teach you what signs and symptoms are. I need you to reach out to each other to make sure that we're okay. You talk to Command Sergeant Major, you talk to Command Chiefs, myself. We didn't get here because it was easy. We didn't get here because it was lucky. We got here because we went through life. Life sucks. But life is really cool when there's somebody standing next to you. When somebody can help you along the way. Came in the guard, first supervisor, staff sergeant E5 on the Air Force side. Brush, I'm your supervisor. Staff sergeant Brown, nice to meet you. I'm responsible. I'm going to call you. And you better answer the phone. So I go home to guard girl, and the first week we get a phone call from Sergeant Brown, and he asks me, Brush, how you doing? I guess I'm doing okay. How's the job? Job's okay. How's your wife? How's your family? She's okay. How's your money? That's okay too, but I ain't got nothing. Right? I'm broke. It's okay too. I hung up the phone. Wow. That was like a 12-second conversation. And then the next week you call. And then the next week you call and say, just so you know, Parker, I'll come up next weekend. I'll see you there. This went on for weeks, months. And then my commander called. My wife answers the phone and she goes, it's for you. I think you're getting fired today. I get on the phone, I said, yes, sir. Rush, how you doing? Good. How's your family? Family's great, sir. How's finances? Could be better, but you don't get to it. You need it at home. Got it. So we sit inside the building, we got all these 4-stars, we got command sergeants majors, command chiefs, sergeants majors, all these guys running around. When our people are having problems, we got an E3 that's struggling because he's having a relationship problem, and or he's having financial problems, and or he's trying to balance life. Is he going to call me? Is he going to call you? Who's he going to call? He's going to call you special. And you don't need a script. You don't need lines to read off the card. You need to just listen to it and say, hey, I got it. I know. I can't fix those problems, man, but I'm here to help you with them. So there's no doubt specialists. I know you could probably move a 400-pound log if you had to. It's going to take you some time, right? But you'll get it moved. But a man sitting next to you is no. And a gal sitting next to you is also no. How fast can you move that log? You get 10 people on that 400-pound log, it's what we can run. That's what we have to do. So when I talk about us as a National Guard, we are family. We are family. Why even more so than most of the other states? Because that's who you guys are as a state. Family, you take care of each other. But here's the worst part about it. We got to teach our soldiers out here too. We got to get our soldiers to admit that they're having a problem, that this is our problem to fix, and we're going to fix it. I just need one thing on. I just need to know that you guys want to fix this as fast as I do, because I do. I can't make another notification. I can't look at another parent in the eye and say, you know what, I need your son to come into my organization. I'll take care of it. And you give this. It's personal. You know the rest of the stuff? He's going to take care of himself. That logo, what was in the middle of the logo? The Minuteman. It was us. I don't care if it's a helicopter, if it's an F-22, I don't care if it's a tank, if it's a self-propelled howitzer. None of that matters if we can't take care of the middle thing first, right? We've got to take care of our people. We're getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Let's get better and better and better. That's all I got. That's it. I can't go back and tell you how to talk to the chief when she gets some of what's on her mind about what's bugging me. I'm always looking for advice, man. How do we cure, not reduce, how do we cure the suicide problem? Staff's running okay? I'm so glad you're going to stay. That's fine. My technician, I know you guys work.
That was about Title V.
There's a conversion going on?
I heard a rumor.
All right, so here's the deal. Do you want the history lesson or do you want me to sugarcoat it for you?
Whatever has the most track in it.
Okay, well, I'll do the history lesson. So back in 2011, there's a thing called the CNA, so Center for Naval Analysis. They did an analysis of their technician program, and they came to the conclusion that they can convert 20% of the technicians to Title V. Now remember, back at that time, the Navy didn't have hardly any civilians within their ranks. They had civilians within the Navy, but they didn't have them within the Navy Reserve. So, any ending here? 1, 2, 3. Okay, so muffle your ears for a second. Do you know why we have a full-time force in the National Guard? What? Take care of him. That's the only reason why we have technicians in AGRs. It's because of him. I'm not picking on you, bro. We have explained to the Department of Defense we need a full-time force to help us train our soldiers. Our soldiers need to come to work Saturday morning and they need to be running, train them, smoke them, and Sunday night we're going to kick them out the door. And hopefully we get a chance to see them 28 days there. That's the only reason why we have a full-time force in the National Guard. So, under that premise, these guys are thinking the full-time force, maybe you in the National Guard, you can convert 20% of your technicians. The unique thing about the technician program that are the Navy Reserves is that they don't have that crazy thing called Title 32. What does that Title 32 do, right? We talk about the logo, state active duty. That happens because of Title 32. So, in 2011, when the CNA study came out, Captain Bell said, yeah, National Guard, we look at the technician program, maybe we could convert 20%. And we're like, you guys are on crack. We're Title 32, we can't convert our technicians. Dual status, we have some non-dual status. Probably some more on the Air Guard side, but we can't convert. So we didn't have to convert. 2013, Captain Bell came back and Congress said, whoa. We asked you 2 years ago what your technician program looks like, so you have to explain to me what your technician program looks like. And so we sent them over a spreadsheet. But it was a really cool spreadsheet. It had colors and numbers and columns. Congress looked at it and said, yeah. Congress looked at it and said, you guys didn't answer the mail. So in 2015, they enacted the National Defense Authorization Act of 2016, which says that you will convert 20% of your technicians. The caveat was that it was going to be primarily administrative, right? We can't convert our helicopter mechanics. We can't convert our AMSO engineers. But you know what? Maybe we could convert some. It certainly is not 20%. So if you take a look at the 453,000 that we have in the National Guard, the individuals that they're looking at make up a sum total of about 10,000. Of that 10,000, we've already converted some of to Title V. You have to know the DPHs, Director of Psychological Health within the state, family readiness programs. Those are normally Title V positions. We've already converted some of those. But Capitol Hill doesn't really understand what we're trying to do and what we're trying to tell them, and that's our fault. So that's what you guys are paying me to do. So I go to Capitol Hill and I tell them, our technicians are much different than the Naval Reserve. Per locals. Look what that happened to us. We let the technicians go. Our organization came to streets and hall for not just 9 days, for almost a month. You stop the machine from turning, it takes a whole month to get the machine going. That means soldiers were not getting paid. That means our readiness levels dipped because our end day came on in and weren't getting training. So we've got a Capitol Hill, we've explained that. The best part about this thing is that it's come to a halt. We've got a state of execution. We've added this into the new NDAA, which means that we don't have to actually look at it until next year. We're looking at it now because we're really concerned. But when we talk about primarily administrative, what is primarily administrative duties and responsibilities? Because we all carry a rifle, right? Right? I'm not shooting one, but I carry one. So you take a look at the wing commander, who's a one-star general, Woodrow, on the Air National Guard side. He commands an air wing. He's got 1,500, 1,600 airmen. He's a pilot. He's in a primarily administrative job. Will they convert him to civilian? They can't. There's no way they can. But how about a position like the USPFO? Maybe. Maybe. Didn't say yes, didn't say no. We can look at it. So General Cabinet, General Miguel, General Brass, myself, we looked at this thing, we know that the number's not 20%. The last estimates we've heard from both readiness centers, Air and Army, is about 5%, usually 5%. Without affecting our organization. On the Air National Guard side, everybody's UTC, meaning that we're tasked about the norm 72 hours. It was interesting because I heard this time and time again. They said, Army's going to take it down. It's not the air. We are a National Guard. Period. Fair and equitable for everyone. So, we've got another year to look at. We've got another year to explain to Capitol Hill why we're uniquely different. We're not special. I'm not asking for special permission. I'm just letting them know who we are. But you have to understand, while I do some of the stuff in education on Capitol Hill, a majority of education and training happens right here in the client. You've got to train your senators and representatives to understand what the technician program, better yet, understand what the Guard is. You've got one senator, it's pretty good, right? They need to take the fight back to Capitol Hill and say, no. You guys can do that in Delaware, but you need to do it in Hawaii, because I need my Guard. My technicians, I can send them out to go break. Title V, I can't touch them. Unless they're in Guards on the weekend. Because Title V allows that to happen, right? You can still be in Guards on the weekend. I can put them on state active and send them out to go. Governors of the 54, 44 who signed a petition that said Congress may do this. Not until we get a real good look at it. So that's where we're at. Hopefully it'll help you sleep better. I'm very worried about it because we as a National Guard exist on three statuses, right? Our AGRs, our technicians, and our ending. If you mess with any one of them. So one of the questions was, if you're telling me to convert my technicians to Title V, well that's fine, give me more additional slots so I can fill them with drill status or MD so Capitol Hill's like, whoa. You're asking for additional? The other question we had is, why are we converting in the first place? The conversion itself is going to be so expensive because we've got legacy technicians in here, right? They have to be able, and they're authorized to get to the end of their contract if they sign up, which means that we're double slotted. It's a lot of money. So if you're trying to save money, man, hey, it's money to do it. My wife was shouting, it was on sale, look, I'm saving money. You're still spending money. A lot of it. Did answer your question? Thanks, man. Appreciate it. What else?
Chief.
Sir.
I'm sorry about this.
How you doing today, man? I'm glad you're here.
Money and the economy, what kind of velocity is the STEP program getting through for the whole country? Is everybody super excited like Hawaii as far as select, train, and promote?
Oh, I got
It seems like right now in the economic times, it should be the opposite, where we can promote our soldiers and send them to school and available, versus put them in a slot, make them do more work, not promote them, and we don't have the money and training others to send them to school like we have to do.
So I get to Hawaii, and I'm not in town but an hour, and I come across Command Sergeant Major Wingate, and our friend, go along with that. First thing out of the mountain. So he's got an answer for me.
I was asking about the other 53.
What was it about? The step. So the velocity. Yeah, so Sergeant Major Wingate sits with the Command Sergeant Major Advisory Council. The other 53 got the same understanding as you. Don't agree with it.
Having the opportunity of being on the executive council of CSMAC, I take everything from Hawaii and I bring it into that council. And I'll tell you, that step thing, it is Army policy and we're here to support 110%, but it is tough and difficult, especially for this state, especially for when we transformed and pick up the additional engineer company, the additional field artillery, the FSC. We are hurting right now as a state to get quotas to fill those. I mean, this is the first time ever we have 32 out of 33 first sergeants filled. We're still one first sergeant short because why? We can't get an SLC quota. And I will tell you, some of those first sergeants are going to be asked to stay on a little bit longer until we can get a hold of the quotas. We went up to the state of the state, and I really beat up the G3 up there. But I showed the numbers, I showed the data. I mean, hey, you gave us 52 ALC quotas, but out of 52, we're only going to get 23 soldiers qualified because of multiple phases. One of the biggest issues on the national and for us is for you aviators. Some of you have 4 phases. We have one soldier right now that's been waiting 8 years to go to a phase, and we didn't get a quota this year. But we're fighting. No, we are.
So the Sergeant Major and I had a conversation about this 2 days ago on one of the things. So when money gets tight, what's the first thing gets cut? Programs, right? So family readiness programs, DPH, direct psychological, things like that, the first thing gets cut. The second is training. So the best part about this is the SMI have conversations about this all the time. Those guys are struggling to get seats for themselves. If you take a look at the Air Guard side, same type of deal. Distance learning is becoming the norm because we can't afford to send them to SLC or PLC or whatever course they need to go to. Whether it's soldiering skills or it's MOS training, we're struggling, absolutely struggling. So we're trying to get this. So on the air side, we do vacancy promotion, right? We see a spot, we fill a slot, we train. It's really hard on the step side, and we're trying to make things work. So yes, the other states are feeling the same concern as he is. And the best part about it is that you guys are nationally connected. Okay, so Command Sergeant Major Wingate sits in CSMAC. Chief Parker is a senior enlisted leader for the state. He's connected with me. We have conversations all the time. And General Logan's back all the time. Okay. I'm not paying you guys to sit around all day. What do you need to do? First and foremost, thank you. Thanks for what you guys do every single day. We sit where we do because of you. I work for you. I work for you. I need to make sure that Hawaii's got all the things that they need to do the job. Say absolutely every single day. 3 things. You gotta take care of yourself. Find 30 minutes in a day where you can do something for yourself. I don't care if it's PT, if it's reading a book, if it's calling your mom, if it makes you feel good, you gotta do it. Because I need you energized for mom. Number 2, take care of your future. When I say take care of your future, people automatically think it's SSD or PND. No, it's not. What does your bench look like? What does your replacement look like? And I'm not trying to make another bench brush. I want to make the next person that comes to mind better than me. That's what we do in the Guard, right? Last thing, you got to take care of your family. This is family. You live with the family. If you're not taking care of that garden, what's it going to look like at the end of your career? You're not taking care of your family today. Who's waiting for you in retirement? Okay? The goal is not to get to retirement. The goal is to enjoy retirement. I'm going to be the greatest vacuum on the Department of Defense, and I'm going to be 150 years old. I'm going to suck that retirement check forever. It's like it's a lot of DOD's butt. Thanks, guys. Right.